Public hearing, Thursday, July 19th. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right behind the town attorney and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samoji? Here. Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. And Supervisor Purdy?
Here.
I let the record reflect Councilman Gutierrez is absent.
Make a motion to open the public hearing, local law for solar moratorium.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, is there any public comments on that? I don't know if we have a written comment.
All right, so this evening I circulated to all board members, in addition to what was circulated from the planning board. In your packets this evening, I'm circulating comments from Chairman Bobby Boyles of the planning board, which he's making comments. I don't know if you want to read them into the minutes, Supervisor, or just
Yes.
the board?
This is from the planning board. This is to inform the town board of the planning board's discussion at a meeting held last night, July 11, 2018. All board members present voted to approve the proposed moratorium prohibiting the installation of freestanding or ground-mounted solar energy systems and energy conversion system as a local law. The planning board would like to have the following taken into consideration as the town board continues their writing of the local law. 1, since all zoning amendments must comply with the comprehensive plan, the plan should be reviewed to determine what, if anything, it states about alternative energy, including solar and wind facilities. 2, the planning board requests the opportunity to review any studies and reports that the town board may rely upon in its evaluation of solar and wind facilities. The planning board requests ample opportunity to review and comment on any local law that the town board considers which regulates solar and wind facilities. The members of the planning board look forward to working with the town board on future drafts and regulations from the town's standpoint on these new issues in town planning and zoning. Thanking you in advance for this opportunity. And then there's an additional comment. This is to inform the town board of the planning board's discussion. The meeting held last night. All board members present voted that the town board have put in language of the roof-mounted solar panel zoning as a requirement to make visible and accessible a non-attached shutoff or conversion switch to the solar panels which are mounted to the roof. This is to allow first responders the accessibility to a shutoff not located on the structure itself. We also received a document from the county planning who said it was a local issue and they weren't going to get involved in it. And they sent us a 239 planning zoning referral exemption for communities, and they designated it a matter of local concern. And also, okay, these are notes not on the, okay, you don't see anything in that. So those are the only comments we have regarding the solar moratorium. Are there any other comments? Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, at this time, we'll hear the Dutchess County Land Conservancy presentation. We're waiting for you.
Hello, thank
Hello.
you very much. My name is Karen Room with the Duchess Land Conservancy. I'm here to formally request endorsement from the town for farmland protection applications that the Duchess Land Conservancy intends to submit to the Department of Agriculture and Markets, New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets. I did provide a short summary and some maps for you. The first project that I'd like to talk about is Glendale Farm. It is owned by Phyllis Rosa and Linda Caldwell, sisters who inherited the property from their parents. It has been in their family since 1945, and after their father, Franklin Decker, passed away, it has been continuously leased by dairy farms and is most currently, for the past 15 years, being leased by Deer Haven Dairy, Ray and Desiree Camburn, who have their base of operations on the property and also lease some adjacent lands. Just to sort of show here on the map, the property is located, has frontage on Route 343 and Sharon Station Road, and has about a mile of frontage on the Harlem Valley Rail Trail here as it's moving south and crossing Route 343. This is almost 1 mile of frontage here. It's the property outlined in purple. Zoom into the aerial, just again for orientation. This is Route 343 as you're heading out of Amenia over to Sharon. This right here is the Harlem Valley Rail Trail as it's moving through the property, and this is Sharon Station Road. This right here is homes of Phyllis and Peter Rosa and Jamie and their Phyllis' son Jamie, and then the farmstead is located right over here. The property does have some excellent natural resources that where Duchess Land Conservancy is very eager to protect. About 50% of the property is engaged in active agriculture. 47% of the property contains prime soils and soils of statewide importance. It also contains the entire property overlies the Zone 1 and Zone 2 aquifer recharge zones, which are mapped by the county back in the mid to late 90s. And these are areas that water percolates through the ground very quickly, and so it's important to conserve those and prevent contamination. And then there is a large part of the property does have a significant wetland complex on it that surrounds a tributary to the Weebatuck Creek as it moves through the property. And this has some very critical habitat that, again, is important to local wildlife populations, and we're very eager to protect that as well. So it's a very well-rounded property in terms of the agricultural use and the natural resources that we'd be protecting. Duchess Land Conservancy did submit an application to Dutchess County's Partnership for Manageable Growth program over the winter, and the county has provided an award to cover 25% of the total project costs, and then the Scenic Hudson Land Trust has also committed 25% of the total project costs, and so we would be seeking 50% of everything from New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets. The program we anticipate applying to is the Farmland Protection Implementation Grants Program, also called FPIG program. It is a competitive program. They opened the funding round at the end of May of this year, and the application deadline is the 31st of August. The program is open to viable farms that are active, that have a strong base, and also protecting the entire parcel, protects agricultural soils and natural resources that are important. In addition, the Department of Ag and Markets does look to the importance of protecting the property to the local municipality. So for the town of Amenia, as I've written in my little short summary to you, agriculture and the agricultural heritage of Amenia is listed as a very high value in the town of Amenia's comprehensive plan. In addition, in terms of the town of Amenia zoning, there is a scenic protection overlay district, which was adopted in 2007, and this property falls within 3 of the 4 different components of that scenic protection overlay district, being a road visual protection corridor, which includes Route 343 and Sharon Station Road, visual viewshed from the Harlem Valley Rail Trail, and then also a ridgeline visual protection zone. This property sort of really exemplifies the Harlem Valley in the sense that it's a lovely mosaic of natural features of wetlands and streams, and then also wooded hillsides along with open agricultural fields. And so we feel very strongly that this property, along with its operation and the funding that we've already secured, will make it a very competitive and compelling application to the Department of Agriculture and Markets. In terms of the site plan, which you can see in front of you, the property is 283 acres in total. The landowners are excluding a 5-acre parcel, which is not at all connected to the farm operation. And so therefore it contains a workshop that Jamie uses. It's right here on Route 343. It has no agricultural use to the property and limited habitat on there. Other than that, they are extinguishing all subdivision rights on the property and retaining what is referred to as a split farmstead. So the farmstead areas are not connected, but they cannot be sold separately from each other. And they do retain within those farmstead areas their residential rights, rights to operate their commercial agricultural business, rural enterprise businesses, which are sort of businesses that are secondary and not going to interfere with an agricultural operation on the property, but do help provide additional income should the farm need it. We all know that farms go through highs and lows, and so the state recognizes that it's nice to be able to have additional income that's not going to inhibit the ag use. So, such as a home office, a bed and breakfast, firewood supply, that kind of thing. All of that would be limited to the farmstead areas, which, as you can see, are close to the road and leaving the agricultural fields and forested woodlands and the wetlands all intact. There is also, excuse me, they've retained a rural enterprise area, which is located along the Harlem Valley Rail Trail, and that is an area in which they could set up a small retail business to cater to people who are using the rail trail. So sort of selling either produce or some value-added product, a farm market, that sort of thing, to capitalize on that. And so we anticipate submitting this application this year, the end of August. The state has said that they will make their announcements of selection in early December, which would mean that we could start work sometime in early 2019 and maybe actually close on it altogether sometime in mid to late 2019, probably late fall 2019. That's our schedule right now if all goes well. So, and then also Phyllis Rosa would like to make sort of like a 2-minute statement just to why we are hopeful that the town will provide endorsement for the project.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Have to go
To microphone.
Oh,
So everybody can hear you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here, and I'm asking for your endorsement to approve our application for the Land Conservancy. And I do want to say that the farming and agricultural community is so vital to this area, the Hudson Valley. I have grown up here. Many farmers, my neighbors, have moved on because farming has not been sustainable. The open spaces are what Amenia is, beautiful to the eye. Growing up here, knowing the community and the people that are coming in here, we should be protecting this. The East Coast is going to make a dreadful mistake if we see all this farming disappear and the ability to produce and milk cows and grow crops and just sustain a healthy environment. There is a rare butterfly that was found on the farm, and that was discovered by Hudsonia. And I do make this appeal that in order to stay viable, we need to work with the Conservancy and hope that this comes to fruition. And just to appeal to you, I would just like to show them some, if you would just see pictures and come along, what it means to us. My grandchildren will be the 4th generation on this farm, and I'd like to see it go into perpetuity. My son Jamie has the same heartfelt feelings. If we didn't, we wouldn't be standing here. And after my dad passed away, no promises were ever made amongst the family members, but my mom felt it to keep it going. She passed away in '89, and obviously I inherited those feelings too, because I've been working on it since. So I appeal to you to please approve this endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I don't know if you wanted to discuss or ask questions about that farm before I move on to the next, or how you would like to handle that.
I had a question. So this grant request that you're putting in for, it's called FPIG, is that going to provide the potentially the other 50% cost of the development rights?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the what we're submitting for is the total project costs, which includes the value of to purchase the development rights, the PDR value, and then also transactional costs such as a survey, title insurance,
Things you
appraisal,
have to
all
do.
of our due diligence work. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's what this would provide.
And you're asking for that for both parcels?
Pardon?
You're asking for both parcels for Miley's also?
Yes, that is there's a little bit of a difference in the Destined Wind farm, which is why I was sort of hoping to make them as sort of separate presentations. But yes, we would also be, for Destined Wind farm, be seeking a percentage for the total project costs. Should I talk about Destined Wind?
Sure.
or-
Well, can I just, while we're still on
Yeah,
this
go
first
ahead.
one, just 2 questions for the record, Karen. Can you just explain for the record, this is a purchase of development rights and not a transfer of development rights, just so we can clarify that. And then can you just reiterate and perhaps supplement this presentation with something in writing as to what the conservation easement actually will provide for, kind of like we did in Pleasant Valley, a short summary like that?
I can send that as a follow-up, absolutely. I'm sorry, would you mind restating your first
Transfer of
question?
development
Yeah.
versus purchase of development.
Yeah, it's definitely not a transfer of development rights. Transfer would be sending those development rights to another part of the town in order to facilitate higher density development in another part of the town, whereas for this program, the purchase of the development rights, Dutchess Land Conservancy holds those development rights in perpetuity, and so it's not trying to affect the, send any additional density to another part of the town, but purely to conserve this one particular property.
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. We've already provided a letter of support in the past for your first grant efforts, right?
Actually, not
Or is there a
for,
big
we didn't
difference?
for Glendale Farm. The county does not require a letter of endorsement from the town, and that application came together so quickly that we just didn't have time to get in touch and get on the town agenda. And so fortunately, the way the county manages their program, if there is a letter of endorsement from the town, it raises the ranking of the project. And we were fortunate in this case that the property itself, was a good,
Ranked high.
yeah, was a competitive project. So this is my first approach to the town on Glendale Farm, but I have absolutely been before you before for Destined Wind.
And the county farmland board is required to sign off on this as well. They already done that?
They have, yep.
Yeah.
They've provided their letter of award, and so they know that we're submitting an application to the state.
So if this proceeds beyond tonight for a formal resolution, I usually include the date that the county farmland board, approved that as well.
I can provide that
you
too.
can provide that to us as well. So I don't know how you've handled these in the past, kind of informally perhaps, where you just approve this request tonight. Other communities adopt a formal resolution to authorize that. The choice is yours. Fortunately, we've got a longer than usual window here. We got a 6-week window. Usually it's a 10-day window or 5-day window. Usually it's a very short period here. And you've got 2 more meetings after this. Certainly the first meeting in August will be here before you know it. So if you want to see in writing what's the conservation easement will actually cover, which is kind of what we did in another community I represent this past week as well. They produced that information to us, and it's been formalized into a resolution, which you can enact at the next town board meeting. If you feel compelled, or if there's a compelling reason to do it tonight, you can do it a little more informally, and just take a motion in a second in order to endorse it. So,
Well, since you requested additional information that would probably be part of the formal resolution,
it would be.
I think we would
I
wait
don't want to stand in the
until
way of
August.
progress or the project. I think it's a very commendable project, and it's certainly worthy of your support and your endorsement. And if the 2 weeks isn't going to impair the process, I think we prefer to formalize that so there's a clearer record of what we're doing and why we're doing it, if that's okay.
Sure.
Is that 2 weeks wouldn't be a problem, right? It's August
When did you
5th?
change your mind?
Second.
Second? August
It's
2nd
first
would be our next meeting,
Thursday.
right?
Okay.
So,
I'd just like to mention that I don't see any reason to wait. I defer to your legal opinion, but it seems to me there's nothing that I can imagine. She already said what would be excluded from the easements, and they made perfect logical sense. In my wildest imagination, I cannot imagine us not taking this opportunity to save this family farm over some meets and bounds, description that didn't quite meet up to our expectations. I think it's a very generous opportunity that you all have offered to give to this community to try and save this in perpetuity. This isn't for this family, this is for the town of Amenia and the residents to enjoy, and we'll all see an increased appreciation of our values in this community because of the scenic, cultural, natural preservation of a working family farm. It's a rare opportunity, and I think we should show, this is just, again, my personal opinion, wholehearted support for this project. It costs the taxpayers nothing for the Duchess Land Conservancy to apply for this grant. They're losing their value of their land by not subdividing it. They could sell it tomorrow and realize they could all, retire to Florida. But they decided not to. They love this land, and they know it's got an important role here in the town of Amenia beyond their own family. So I would respectfully make the motion, if everybody else would agree, that we approve this proposed purchase of development rights for this family and write a letter of support.
Well, doing the resolution doesn't mean we're not going to support what they want to do. We're just formalizing it. I mean, nobody,
I have no issue with this project or this proposal. As I said, I support it. I support the program. I support the Conservancy. All I was suggesting was for the record, I mean, this particular summary does not include a summary, the way I read it, of what was described as to what the easement will exactly do.
I think the grant application, which we'd probably be able to take a look at, would provide all of those details and more. The grant application itself probably lays out all of the technical details of this conservation. But if I'm the only one who believes it's a slam dunk for town of Amenia, and the sooner we write our letter of support and start working on supporting this project, the better. But that's perhaps just me.
Well, I'm not trying to be an obstructionist, and again, I
Well,
said...
it'll cost us money to have you draw up a resolution. I just don't see the point. I think we have a lot on our plate and a lot of important things to do. And to me, it's just a no-brainer that we should just be realistic. If anybody needs to see more specific details in writing about what is and isn't included, it seems to me that map, we all have it in our packet, tells us what has been excluded, his farm, his home,
That map
the
is
other
not
home.
the map that you have attached here, just to be fair. There's more detail on that map than is on this map, including the area that's being excluded from the easement, which does not show on this map. So although it says number 6 aerial map, the date must be different because the information is different. So if
We've
you
all
like that,
driven by there. We know those family farms. We know the parcels that she's, I mean, that's just my opinion. And if you want to pay him to create a resolution with more detail, that's fine. But I stand with my motion.
Hold on a second. Scott, is there any downside to doing it now?
the only downside is,
The cost.
no,
well,
let him finish.
I mean, the downside, okay, the cost. I mean, I don't know what's going to cost to prepare 2 resolutions, one for each one, but it's just as part of establishing a record, and I don't think there's sufficient documentation in the record to cover the basic information here. Look, this letter is dated today, July 19th. It's not as if the town board has been delaying or sitting on this. This is the first time you're seeing this. The public hasn't even been made aware of this. You know, I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think there's a downside. I think there's only an upside if we have a better record and a better understanding of what exactly you're endorsing here. I understand that the application may say what it says, but we don't have the application. So you're taking a leap of faith here, which is a fair leap of faith. I don't dispute anything they're saying or doing here. I'm just trying to suggest that typically we provide formal approval for these types of applications in other communities.
Can you tell us exactly how many acres would be conserved?
Yep, it would be 278.5 acres. That may change once the property is surveyed, but per real properties parcel access information, it would be approximately 278 acres. And then the remaining property, is the property stays together, and I am happy to provide, I think as we've approached more and more towns, the state used to, it used to be that we didn't do so many projects. The state has really increased their support for the purchase of development rights, and so I think as towns are seeing more of these and more towns are seeing these applications, they're looking for more information, and so, I'll next time beef up my thing and provide, which is very reasonable information. So I'm happy to do whatever the town would prefer.
I believe we have a motion on the floor. No second, so it fails. I would like to make a motion to authorize our attorney, Scott Volkman, to do a resolution which will basically be an approval of the subdivision, but to more formalize the approval and have the additional information in the resolution.
I'll second. I beat you.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
I'll do it as quickly and efficiently and as economically as I can.
Now, did you want to do additional presentation on Destin Hill
Yes,
Farm?
I would, a little bit, in part because there have been some very recent changes that we're all grappling with. So the Destin Wind Farm is this 283-acre property that, 232-acre property. Consists of 150 acres and then an 82-acre parcel that is right across the road, across Route 343 from the Glendale property. So it's a very exciting opportunity to have a large contiguous block of properties that are protected, that also both have frontage on the Harlan Valley Rail Trail. As you exit the woodlands of the Glendale farm, the view of the three blue harbor stores and the backdrop of Open Meadow and Rattlesnake Mountain come into view. It's a really tremendous part of the Harlan Valley Rail Trail. As I previously mentioned, we did come to the town board for approval or endorsement rather when we submitted our application to the county at the end of 2016. That award was made in early 2017. And that was for a total of 30% of the total project costs. Just for again some to locate us, here is Route 343 as you're leaving Amenia, heading out to Sharon. Here is Sharon Station Road. And these are the two tax parcels. This one tax parcel is owned by Hans Jörg Miley, and who is Jörg Miley's father. And then this parcel here is owned by Arrowhead Hills Partnership, which is actually consists of the four siblings. Jörg, his sister Barbara, and brother and sister Craig and Carla. And both properties are part of the Destin Wind farm operation. And so not much has changed since the application, our first presentation, other than at the time we had anticipated submitting our application to the same competitive FPAG program. However, in the last 2 weeks, the New York State Department of Ag and Markets has released a new, different funding round that is in addition to this competitive FPAG program, and it is solely targeted at dairy farms who are going through a transition. The state has recognized that the dairy industry in New York State and really across the country is just having an incredibly difficult time, and so they have this new funding round, which is not a competitive round. Rather, they have region-specific criteria. The state is broken into 5 different regions, so long as you reach a certain acreage, agricultural soil percentage, active agriculture on the property, and then you have a viable transition that can be documented, then it would qualify. And in that case, it's then a first-come, first-served basis. And so while it doesn't have a deadline, we're hoping to get in as soon as possible because we anticipate that there will be many land trusts who will be looking to participate in this program. That being said, we will likely only have our application ready by the same time, the end of August, so I'm happy to provide additional information to keep it on the same track as Glendale, if that would be helpful. So, but we do, again, want to get our application in as quickly as possible. So Destined Wind is going through a transition. The three criteria are an intergenerational transfer of the property with additional support for the existing dairy to stabilize. The second category is if the dairy is enhancing their operation by diversifying and adding another agricultural type to the dairy. So it's dairy plus something different. And then the third is if they are transitioning out of dairy altogether into another agricultural type. And so York Miley's operation is currently going through that transition of the third type. It will still be a supportive operation of dairy with dairy replacement cows, beef cattle, but much more diversified and therefore more stable and not subject to this fluctuating milk market. And so everything remains the same of the use of the property. This property result in two different conservation easements, one for the 145 of the 150-acre parcel. They are excluding one 5-acre portion down by Yellow City Road. But other than that, they are limiting the 145 acres to one farmstead area surrounding the existing infrastructure and, again, one rural enterprise area at roadside should they ever develop a farm market or something along those lines. And then the other property, the 82-acre property owned by the four siblings, those development rights will also be extinguished and they will have one farmstead area on there, which we've done what we could to keep it off the Unfortunately, the entire property just has fantastic agricultural soil, so it's hard to locate a building envelope or a farmstead area where it's not impacting that. But we've done our best to tuck it off the prime soils at least, and in a corner of the property, there is a well-established farm road going through that front field, which will service that, can easily service that back farmstead area. We believe, as I said, with all of the tremendous agricultural soils on the property, 66% of the property consisting of high-quality farm soil, 70% of the property is currently engaged in agriculture, and York has plans to actually open up a little bit more of the property for pasture and crops, so that will only grow. And it does contain frontage on tributary to the Weepatuck Creek. Along with similar, this whole area of Amenia has sort of this 2-mile area of really niche wetlands that support critical habitat for a lot of wildlife species, and that continues onto this property, so it'll be wonderful to protect that as well. So similarly, this does fit with the comprehensive plan for the town in that it's very clearly an agricultural use that is a distinguishing feature of Amenia. Both properties actually also, along with the other properties, serve as a gateway for the hamlet of Amenia. And then this property actually strikes all four of the components of the Scenic Protection Overlay District with the Road Visual Protection Corridor from Route 343, a viewpoint, a designated viewpoint from Route 343, which is described as being significant, the visual protection for the rail trail, and Ridgeline Visual Protection Zone, where it starts to meet with the northern end of Rattlesnake Mountain.
And you're applying for grant funds?
We are applying for grant funds. At this point, we haven't determined exactly which program, whether it'll be the dairy transition or the farmland protection implementation grants. But we do anticipate knowing that within the next week or two. And so I understand.
So they're not part of the CFA, either one?
No, actually, they're not. The consolidated funding application, I see, that's due at the end of July. The Department of Agriculture and Markets for these farmland protection programs doesn't actually go through the CFA. It's still through Grants Gateway.
I just didn't know if you were under any time constraints, but
Oh, no, I
apparently
appreciate
not.
that. Thank you. Had a different intensity about me. No, they do operate differently. It's still through Grants Gateway, but not through the consolidated funding application.
Miss, excuse me, I think we're spending a lot of time on this, and it's something that
Yeah.
we're going to approve.
Okay.
So We have a lot of things to do tonight.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I will stop then. Thank you. Unless
So I
there's anything
believe
further.
our motion was to authorize Scott to do the approval for, do I need to do another one to have you do this one also, or we can just include both?
Just include it with both, if that's all right. The only thing I just would again ask, is some detail about the easement. If you decide to go with both applications, make that clear. And can you also provide the updated map on both of those, just that has a little more detail. And we'll be prepared for the next meeting.
For the August 2nd meeting, we'll be prepared with both.
Okay. Thank
If you're
you.
not ready, you said one of them we might not know for a couple weeks though, on the dairy transition may come after that.
I believe we'll know
All right.
up at that point, but if we don't, then I'll
Then
let
there's
you
one
know.
more meeting after that, it's still in August,
Okay.
if that, depending on what your deadline is.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Whatever the board needs to do, obviously, they're going to do it for you, okay?
Okay. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment? Deirdre?
I'd like to just quickly say thank you also to the York family for getting your farm into a conservation easement for the benefit of all of Amenia. Because it is a huge financial decision on your part to throw and extinguish the development rights on so many acres, 145 acres if I got that right. It's a huge, huge benefit to the town of Amenia, and I thank you very, very much. Sorry.
Deirdre Houston, Dutchess County Legislator. Just quickly, because I know you're in a hurry tonight, or you have a lot to do tonight, I just wanted to give you an update on a few things the county is working on. At our last legislature meeting, we voted and approved the Dutchess Community College budget. There will be a slight increase in tuition this year. I believe it's $186 per semester for a full-time student. And the county gave an additional $750,000 towards the community college budget in excess of what we had planned to give, so to meet their shortfall. The county has installed 3 charging stations for vehicles, and there's 3 up and running at the county office building, the Beacon Government Center, and the Tivoli Village Hall. And the 4th, which is close to Amenia, is going to be in the village of Pauling, and that'll be up later this summer. And lastly, the meeting of the Dutchess County Legislature for August 20th is going to be held at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds in acknowledgement of the 50th year of the Dutchess County Legislature. So the rumor is anyone that comes gets a complimentary milkshake. Thanks.
And what is the date of that again?
August 20th.
August 20th.
7 p.m. Livestock Hill.
Okay.
And that's the
Got
night
it.
before the fair actually starts, and there's no admission charge to go to the meeting, right?
Yep, you can
Okay.
show up.
Get your milkshake. Okay. Any other public comment?
Dave Connors, 14 Powder House Road in Amenia. I meant to come months ago, actually.
Closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic. This was my first comment. I don't know about any of you, but I hear better without a microphone than I do with the microphone. I don't understand half of what you people were talking about tonight, sitting in that front seat, because it echoes. Maybe we should take some of the money that we're saving to repair the next toilet and spend it on a better sound system. And the toilet was really what brought me here tonight. Tell me I'm wrong, please, somebody. Did we actually spend $80,000 of taxpayer funds to repair a toilet? Yes, no, maybe? No answers. This is what I was talking about the last time I was here. You refuse to answer my questions, but you'll answer anyone else's, just because my questions are a little bit tougher. I mean, I know you spent it, but I just don't understand why we would spend $80,000 to unclog a toilet. This building is by far the most expensive building you could possibly be operating. Not to mention the fact that the air conditioning is probably set at constant on, making it quite chilly in here. I think we're really wasting our taxpayer money trying to keep this building operating. That's my main concern. But if you take away these microphones, I know I would be able to hear better. As far as I know, my hearing is perfect. But when you speak into your microphones, it echoes back here. I don't care where I sit. I almost always sit up front because I think I hear the best. But it's not a very good system. But no one's going to answer my question. Did we spend $80,000 to unclog a toilet that had paper towels in it? Thank you very much. As expected, no answer.
Is there any other public comment? Supervisor's report.
Not really.
Wassaic Trail to the Train update. Authorization to proceed with the right-of-way acquisition has been issued by the DOT, and required documentation is being signed by property owners. Town of Amenia Highway Garage land update.
Thank you.
The Office of General Services is still in the process of preparing the declaration of abandonment with DEC, which should be completed soon, but is not completed yet. Old Amenia landfill update. Certificate of completion has been filed with the Dutchess County Clerk's Office, and the environmental attorney is working on an amendment to the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Sharon. Grants applications. We're currently applied to New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services for bank stabilization on Deep Hollow Road for $80,000. Consolidated funding grant applications are for Main Street and Empire State Development for downtown revitalization, and a Parks and Recreation grant for ADA and other improvements for Wassaic Park. Climate Smart certification. We're applying for Climate Smart grants with HVA through consolidated funding grant application for flood vulnerability and analysis at road stream crossings in the town of Amenia, and review of existing community plans, policies, and projects in the town of Amenia to identify climate adaptation strategies, policies, and projects to decrease vulnerability to climate change and to meet certification requirements. Noise law update. The noise law is undergoing further review and will be presented in August. The introduction to the local law will also set a public hearing at that date. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The minutes of last meeting, July 5th, were circulated prior to the meeting. Has everybody had the opportunity to review?
Make a motion to approve.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I circulated this evening, and your packets are bids for lawn maintenance. The code enforcement officer has sent out an ad, and they were looking for bids for lawn maintenance and debris removal from properties cited by the code enforcement officer. Lawns will be mowed and trimmed, and any debris removed will be the bidder's responsibility, and he provided the list of properties. We've received 2 bids, one from Rob Janquish, mowing at a rate of $60 an hour, labor at a rate of $35 an hour. And the second bid was received from Doug Westfald for mowing at $80 an hour and labor at $100 an hour. The emails are part of the packet.
My question to these bids, so I can understand it. The first one for $60 per hour is per man for mowing. And the garbage removal is for $35 per hour per man to load along with along with the dumping fees associated at Welsh and Wingdale. So it doesn't say like how many men, yeah, I mean, that's required. Then my second one, the other one is even more obscure to me. It says $80 per hour, and the rate of removal of debris would be $100 per hour. But it doesn't say if that's the whole job or if that's per man. So my confusion is, if I was going to have somebody mow my lawn, I want to know how many guys are coming and how much it's going to cost me.
I think those are great questions, Michelle. As I had stated in an email to the board, I was away at training, teaching all week.
Right.
So this is what I was given. So
Right.
I didn't have
That opportunity?
those opportunities, nor do I speak with the bidders. This is a project that was put for the code enforcement, and, we circulate it and advertise it as required. This is something, it's great conversation, not only with this bid and maybe all bids, that the board is a little bit more involved in ensuring that the RFPs are written in a format that you get back that would answer said questions.
Right.
I can only present this evening what was submitted to me.
Okay.
And I know I kind of skirted around your question without answering it, because I really can't answer it.
No, you can't because you...
But if you look at the parcels that they're talking about, there's one across from HG Page, there's one on Route 22, and then there's a third parcel on the bottom of Nelson Hill going towards the town garage. So if you've traveled these areas of the community, you would see, and if you've had experience with mowing or cleaning, you would see that these are particular properties that are in really rough shape. They're
Yes.
not just,
Yeah.
there have been eyesores and issues
Right.
every year. And
But one bid
we go
does
through
say
them.
per man, and the other one doesn't, because...
Per hour. One does it per hour and one does it. So you don't know. You're honestly right. You don't know if Rob needs 2 or 3 or just himself. It's not
And the
clear.
other one is just himself.
Well, I don't think we can act on this.
That's fine. No, I just, does a board member want to speak to the code enforcement officer and tighten this up and come back?
Yep.
Next, who would like to do that? So that way it's clear,
What are we asking him for?
the details, Michelle's questions. She's asking for a little bit more detail.
Did you want me to do that, Victoria?
Yeah, why don't you
Sure.
do that?
And then you bring back the information and share it with all of us at the meeting, Michelle?
yes, I
So
will.
you have a project.
Oh, my goodness.
She's going to do it. We received a phone call today. Robin took a phone message. There's a resident at 17 Under Mountain Road who is having some electrical work done in his home.
yes.
And as a result, the telephone pole in front of his house needs to be replaced. And on that telephone pole, there happens to be a street light. And he is asking if it's possible that that street light not be replaced. And NYSEG is saying that, this is something from the town because it's part of the lighting district. I share this information with you. If the board wishes to look into it further or follow up, we can do so at the next meeting. I'm not looking for action, I just wanted to share with you
Because you're on the...
something that came in. Maybe you guys want to think about it, look at the area, see if the light is necessary. Okay, so presenting to you for this month, vouchers. The voucher abstract was verified, and they are in the following amounts. General Fund A, $124,863,044. Highway Fund, $216,634.18. Amenia Lighting, $1,295.77. Wasaik Lighting, $470.69. Amenia Water, $14,705.65, for a total of the vouchers this month, $357,969.73.
I make a motion that we approve the payment of the vouchers as submitted.
Second.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
And as we're making our announcements, I do remind the public that we made legal notice as well as on our bulletin board and on our website. Town is currently seeking a town historian, members to fill our water district committee, And I know highway was also included in that. So if anyone is interested in filling any of those 3 positions with the town, please send your letter of interest and/or resume to the town clerk at town.clerk@ameniany.gov.
And I add that we also need members for volunteers.
CAC.
We need volunteers to serve
And
on
enhancement.
the town's CAC, which is the Conservation Advisory Council.
I apologize, that was in the legal notice. Tried to include everything that I remembered.
So it was advertised.
Yeah, trying to fill everything for you guys. It's summertime, so everybody's
Yeah.
at the beach.
We saw the deadline was like today, but we would like you to extend it.
It's going to continue. And Nancy's asked that I announce that the auxiliary of the Wassaic Fire Company is holding a breakfast on Sunday, July 29th. Support your local fire department.
It's the 29th?
It's the 29th?
It says Sunday, July 29th. That's what our flyer, I read.
I think in the paper it said 22nd.
I thought so too. Uh-oh.
Let me read. Let's go to the calendar. Well, that would be the last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
She's in California right now, and I don't think she's watching.
No, it's too much. But that's okay, because after you go to the senior picnic on Saturday, then Sunday you go to breakfast. Same
Yeah.
location.
You don't have to cook all
The
weekend.
flyer then says August 26th and September 23rd, so I think they do the last week's the last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
But thanks. Thank you.
At the end? to your
That's
report?
the end. That's a long report.
Okay, highway report. We were supposed to blacktop Depot Hill, Powder House, and O'Hanley Drive the beginning of July 1st. That has been moved to another date. I'm waiting to hear back from Peckham's with a new date. We have been out trimming trees, cutting shoulders, adding drainage, and getting ready to use our shared paver in a couple of weeks. In the next couple of days, we will be out mowing. We still have an open position for a CDL driver laborer. I have advertised in the Poughkeepsie Journal, Millerton News, Facebook, the town webpage, and Channel 22. We have received only 1 application. Submitted from Megan Chamberlain, Amenia Highway Superintendent. Are there any other committee reports?
I have a CAC report. We met last night, and we had Climate Smart Communities Pledge on our agenda. We reviewed that, and our chair is Michael Peak, and the group is willing, the whole CAC is willing to serve as the CSC task force if the town board is so inclined to appoint us as such. If you recall, Europa McGovern came to tell us about climate smart communities, and she suggested that the CAC is an appropriate body to do that, such as the town of Dover. So that's open for that, and their first task is to create a mission or vision statement to guide us through the process, and the town may want to include the statement as part of the CFA grant application. And then we also talked about the 10 Mile River Watershed Collaborative, and the resolution that we had provided to the town board via Damien at the last meeting, of which I was not present. It was to ask the town board to pass a resolution saying that they would not be, that we would not use a product called Roundup, which includes a high percentage of glyphosate. That's a strong poison which is considered a carcinogenic in California and banned entirely in European countries. I don't know if you guys did anything about that at the last meeting. I think it was tabled. Does anybody recall that discussion?
I don't even recall it coming up.
Okay.
I know on our ball fields and all of our playgrounds, Roundup is prohibited from being used.
Correct. Certainly have to be licensed to do it, and I'm not sure that you can do it around playgrounds at all.
Yeah, we don't.
You certainly have to alert the public. There's a procedure. So I think that we could simply pass a motion saying that we would not use that, which is, I believe, I think you can do it if you have a licensed applicator and you provide the proper notice to the public. And then we dealt with the fact that we need new members, and that was it. So I guess I would make a motion that we recommend, or that we not use Roundup to control the invasive Phragmites in the garden near the playground, as the CAC recommended.
Second?
Is it second? Did you second it?
I second it.
Oh, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And as far as enhancement, we have not been meeting recently, but I would just like to take a moment to thank, on behalf of the rest of the board, I'm sure you agree that the planters in Fountain Square look great this year. They planted new things in the concrete planters and in the Fountain Square area, and it looks great. And they've been watering like crazy during this very droughty summer that we've been having. So thanks to all of the members of the Enhancement Committee, Herb Eschbach, Margie O'Brien, Eric Eschbach, and really she's just a volunteer, is drawing a blank, Marilyn Noe. She's no longer lives here.
Yeah.
Also, we did go to a recreation
The
meeting.
recreation meeting, you're right. Did you want me to say
Yeah,
a few
that'd
things
be
about the
great.
We did go to the recreation meeting, and one of the things, well, there were several things discussed, but one thing was discussed is that they were interested in looking into getting a recreation director, maybe putting that in our budget in the next year. And I think they've been researching what a recreation, the qualifications for being a recreation director in the town of Amenia. I believe it has to be with the county regulations. The county has some regulations, so we would have to look at those regulations and see if they apply, and we can use that. The other thing they brought up is the baseball season and who's going to be taking over the program of leading it and organizing it. Of course, Christine this is her last year at doing it, and Scott says that he's going to check with the people who have been who have shown an interest to volunteer to take that on. So we will look at that one there. And then I think there was something about the cheerleading group. The cheerleading group, that they were wondering if they had all the paperwork in for it that they need to put in for it. Or
The insurance went in, the flyers were all, they've already been out on Facebook and announced, and I know they're supposed to be starting at the end of August,
okay.
per the last meeting that we had attended.
Yes, right. So that's all, I mean, that was one of the questions they had. Did they have all the details? And I guess we've got them all. We've got them all hammered right down. Should I
I
just...
think they want the cheerleading group to actually come to
back?
a recreation meeting, and they didn't at the time know when, where, all the details.
Oh, of course.
They came and they presented. Unfortunately, there was no quorum. I did read the minutes, and there was nothing even mentioned about this,
Right.
that they're requesting it.
Right,
So that we have not, I guess the Recreation Commission hasn't actually sanctioned it a town activity yet.
Correct, because
Right.
there wasn't a quorum there that night. There was only two, I believe, that were present, so they said that they would bring it up at the next meeting, and I had sent the reminder email to Chip I requested that it be part. I don't know if you read my email of all the items and updates.
no, he didn't. I didn't hear that, no.
They should probably come to another Recreation Commission meeting and present to all of the members.
Sure.
So everybody is on the same
Yeah,
page.
I think that's right, because they just didn't know when, any of the details.
It was going to be
Because then
Sundays,
they can
exactly
vote.
the same of the way it used to run when Katrina Stossel ran it. It was going to be ran on Sundays, here at Town Hall. Their request was that it would be covered under using their insurance, and it wouldn't cost, they're not adding a line or anything, it was just covering, so it would be the way it was formerly done before the hired company, Michelle, came in.
Right, right,
So
not
they're-
this
they're-
Michelle.
Not you, Michelle, the other Michelle. So they're looking to go back old school,
Right.
just going as a rec
So
team,
they
not a
don't have
competitive
insurance,
team.
They need our insurance to
Correct.
cover it. So therefore, they need the
The rec commission to approve
agree.
it.
Yeah.
Prove it, so we have the insurance, okay.
Yeah, okay, so I will touch base with Chip and get him the Rebecca Malone's information, and then they can schedule a special meeting then
That'd be perfect.
and do what they need to do.
That's what they have to do. Exactly.
Let's move.
Okay, let me just move right ahead, let me move right away to the picnic, okay?
All right.
Okay, I'm going to move right ahead to the picnic, and then you get ready now, get ready. The picnic is Saturday, July 28th. The meal will be at 12 noon. It's at the Wassaic Firehouse. Come early, around 11:30 or so, get yourself a seat. It's going to be very, very nice. Cousins Deli is catering, and it's going to be baked chicken, roasted potatoes, and coleslaw, and tossed salad, and pickled beets, and cake, and the watermelon, the whole 9 yards is going to be there. So please come down. We're also going to have music, so you'll be able, a live person is playing music. And so you'll be able to dance. Just make a request, whatever dance you like to dance, he'll play. And our theme is kind of a faux Mardi Gras theme, so our colors are gold and purple. And it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. So please come to that. The next bus trip is to Hunter Down Hills Playhouse. I know Jimmy gets so tired of that, right? Hunter Down Hills Nonsense. And it's on August 15th. It's a Wednesday. I have people signing up already. The flyers are out. It's on the TV. If you want to, if you're planning to go, you can pay me at the picnic for it, okay? You have to make your checks out to the town of Amenia, though, all right? And as for that, that's everything I have to say, except I hope you all have a very pleasant weekend.
Okay, before we move on, did you want to make a motion to create the Climate Smart Task Force with the CAC members since they offered to take on that task?
I wasn't sure where you were with this resolution for Climate Smart grant application, so we could perhaps do that to give more background information and
Okay,
reading of that resolution, and then we could decide how to proceed.
okay. And are there any other committee reports? No? Okay, the resolution for solar moratorium local law. So it's Scott reading the first page, both parts.
Yeah, page 1 and 2. So now we can assign a resolution number, and we can potentially assign a local law number. I don't think we have any other pending local laws, right?
So we just usually put local law X until,
Yeah, and now we'll number it the next number when it's actually filed, which should be following this meeting. We expect it to be 3, but leaving it blank for now is fine. So the resolution number
39.
39.
adopting local law number X for now of the year 2018, imposing a temporary townwide moratorium prohibiting the installation of freestanding or ground-mounted solar energy systems and wind energy conversion systems. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia duly adopted a resolution number 31, 2018, introducing a proposed local law entitled Local Law Number X of the year 2018, imposing a temporary townwide moratorium prohibiting the installation of freestanding or ground-mounted solar energy systems and wind energy conversion systems. Whereas the public hearing was duly advertised in Millerton News, the official newspaper of the town. Whereas the public hearing was held on July 19th. Oh, I'm sorry, was held on July 5th and extended to July 19th. And all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to said proposed local law or any part thereof. Whereas the proposed action is a Type 2 action not subject to environmental review pursuant to 6 NY-CRR Section 617(5)(c)(30. Whereas the proposed local law was referred to the Town of Amenia Planning Board for comment, which by letter dated July 12, 2018, returned a positive recommendation. Whereas the proposed local law was referred to Dutchess County Planning for comment, which by memorandum dated July 5, 2018, made a determination it was a matter of local concern. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, after due deliberation, finds it is in the best interest of the town to adopt said local law. Whereas said local law has been on the desks of members of the Town Board in the Town of Amenia for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday prior to the adoption of this resolution, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby adopts local law number X at this point, the year 2018, entitled Local Law Number X of the year 2018, imposing a temporary townwide moratorium prohibiting the installation of freestanding or ground-mounted solar energy systems and wind energy conversion system, a copy of which is attached hereto and made part of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting in the local law book for the Town of Amenia, to give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. I make that motion.
Second?
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
No.
Councilman Gutierrez is absent. Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
And I don't think I have to read the local law then.
No,
Oh, okay.
you're good. So the motion passed 3-1 with 1 absent.
Okay, resolution number 40.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to New York State Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, whereas the Town of Amenia is seeking a grant funding for improvements to Wassaic Park, whereas the town is seeking a Parks Development Grant and intends to apply through the consolidated funding application process to New York State Parks. Whereas the grant application for Wassaic Park must be filed through the consolidated funding application by July 27. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby authorizes preparation of a grant application to New York State Parks and authorizes the supervisor to sign and certify the application.
I'll second that.
Do you want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, then I'll second it.
Doyle?
There is a typo, though. The third whereas, it should not say the town, it should say the grant application for Wassaic Park.
Mr. Haggerty used the same template as last week.
Okay.
I corrected. Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Yes, he took it. Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez is absent. And Councilman Smoji?
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 41. Whereas the Town of Amenia believes that climate change poses a real and increasing threat to our local and global environments and is primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels. Whereas the effects of climate change will endanger our infrastructure, economy, livelihoods, harm our farms, orchards, and ecological communities, including native fish and wildlife populations, spread invasive species and exotic diseases, reduce drinking water supplies and recreational opportunities, and pose health risks to our citizens. Whereas we believe that our response to climate change provides us with unprecedented opportunity to save money and to build livable, energy-dependent, and secure communities, vibrant innovation economies, healthy and safe schools, and resilient infrastructures. Whereas we believe the scale of greenhouse gas emissions reductions required for climate stabilization will require sustained and substantial efforts. Whereas we believe that if emissions were dramatically reduced today, communities would still be required to adapt to the effects of climate change for decades to come. Therefore, it is hereby resolved that the town of Amenia, in order to reduce greenhouse gases and adapt to a changing climate, adopts the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, which comprises the following 10 elements. 1, pledge to be a climate-smart community, set goals and inventory emissions, plan for climate action, decrease community energy use, increase community use of often renewable energy, realize benefits of off-recycling and other climate-smart solid waste management policies, reduce greenhouse gas emissions through the use of climate-smart land tools, enhance community resilience, and prepare for the effects of climate change, support development of green innovation economy, inform and inspire the public. Commit to evolving promise of climate action. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Amenia authorize the town supervisor to submit a consolidated funding application for a climate smart community certification grant. So it would be 2018-19. There a motion?
I make that,
Go ahead.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
There we go.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
And Gutierrez is absent.
So pursuant to that resolution, the chair of our CAC, again, is Michael Peak, and he has expressed his willingness to serve as the coordinator for the CSC task force. And as I said, the CAC is willing to be appointed the CSC task force as well as being the CAC. And I guess I'll make a motion that we appoint the CAC as the CSC task force. I think that's
second
how
it.
we do it, right? We appoint a CSC task force?
Yes.
If the town board doesn't want to do it itself?
Right.
This is the question. Okay, so.
Second?
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle, Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
And Councilman Gutierrez is absent.
Just one other question that he had was, the first task would be to create a mission or vision statement. Do you want to be involved with, do you want them to go ahead and start working on this mission or vision statement as part of the CFA grant application?
Yes, if they work with Mike Haggerty,
Okay,
because he's already started it.
all right. I will let them know. Thank you.
Okay, resolution number 42, transfer of funds for July 2018. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary or unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment, the general fund increasing expense line 19004.01.057, special item CE grant administrator by $2,500 and decreasing expense line 90608.01.033, medical insurance deductibles by $2,500. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes a transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transaction.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Okay, I received information by Swift 911 notification system. I gave you the information. We don't have to act on it tonight. There's also a webinar you can obtain. One of the reasons it caught my eye of all the sales pitches I get in the course of the day was that it reaches thousands in seconds. One of the problems we've had whenever we've had a water main break or, you know, something that happens very quickly is getting the information out to the public. I mean, we use Channel 22 and our website, but this way, the information would go to either a phone call, a text message, an email, Facebook or Twitter if we had that, or in addition to our website. the people in the water district would be able to choose how they would like to receive that information. In addition, we could also, it was explained in the webinar how they do their mapping. They can actually map the entire water district so that only the people in the water district would get the notification when there's a water break or anything that affect their water. They also have the capability of sending out water alerts and other alerts to all of our constituents. One of the things that bothered me was when we had our nor'easters. I mean, we were able to reach people on the website or Channel 22, but a lot of people didn't have power. And besides posting a sign on the town hall, other than going door to door, it was difficult to get information to people to let them know that we had bottled water and dry ice here. So I think if we had a better way of reaching the public and letting them know, what we have available here and also to our water district people.
Does Marco have a way of getting in touch? Maybe he's developed those 300 or so property owners. Maybe he has a way of getting in touch with people?
No, he doesn't.
He just knocks on doors or looks it up, the phone number or whatever, that individually?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a business, he, actually goes and knocks on the door and tells the business they're going to be out.
Right.
So
the water committee, could they take a look at that and see if that's, the kind of price they want to pay? Because this is it's a substantial annual fee, $1,795. So it's a significant investment each year that they.
Well, if we were also using it for weather alerts and special events manager, we would split the cost with them. But, I think, it isn't anything we have to decide on tonight, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. This is actually a way, we would be able to reach more people and let them know what's going on.
Right. I would be happy if it was, it's the annual fee that I'm really shy of because, there's so many constant contact and, it is expensive to build and maintain a database for our residents. And it is a good thing to be able to get in touch with them in an emergency. But I'd like to consider the whole communications and messaging. I think at one time we talked about a board that could be updated out by the road. I think you looked into it, Michelle. It was $4,000, but it's a one-time fee. You install it, and there's a message that you can update just like that, and people driving Route 22 would see it.
Yeah, the sign.
Well, if they were able to get out in 22
and be able to get out. But also, I think part of that is we were upgrading the electric for this building too, right? And that there might have been some problem that.
What?
The Christmas tree lights, when they go on, they blow a
When we
break.
put, part of the whole generator project is includes an upgrade to the electrical.
To everything. So personally, I would like to see the board like that if they could do, because it could be a lot of things. Those sandwich boards they're always falling down. But it would be something you can keep an update on, a constant turn on it. But I know that would have to be done when we were sure that we could power it all successfully, and we have all the important things done first, and then that board would be like the cherry on the sundae,
Okay, other matters is the bond, and we need to rescind.
So you received a letter dated today from bond counsel. We need to address a procedural issue and readopt the resolution essentially that we did 2 weeks ago. So the first thing we're going to do is rescind resolution 36, 2018. and then we'll move on to reconsider the resolution you have before you today. I missed the last meeting. I don't know if you read the entire resolution last time. If you did, I'm sorry I missed that. I'm sure it was entertaining. Bond resolutions always are. But essentially, it's the same resolution, the same amounts. It's just to deal with a procedural issue, and I don't think you need to reread that entire resolution if you don't feel compelled to. But in any event, the first thing we should do is to rescind resolution number 36 of 2018, and then we'll move on to consider.
So I can do that by verbal resolution?
Correct. If you do that now, that'd be great.
Okay, so I make a resolution to rescind resolution number 36,
Correct.
2018.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
And then the next resolution, again, is identical it's a $1 million bond resolution. It's subject to permissive referendum. Notice needs to be published within 10 days from now, and then someone has up to 30 days from the date of adoption in order to file a petition for a referendum. It's identical to what it was before. It identifies the project, identifies the seeker nature of it, identifies it's got a 15-year useful life, which will allow you to bond for up to 15 years to repay it. And the reason that it's subject to referendum is because, in all likelihood, the bonding period will be greater than 5 years, and you want to keep your options open, so that results in a referendum period of the bonding for greater than 5-year period. When it comes time to actually go long-term with the bond, you can then decide with your financial advisor whether you want a 5 or 10 or 15 year or something in between, and you'll judge the market at that time and decide what you want to do.
For this particular project, we do have grants
Okay.
to pay for a good part of the bond. We have a $100,000 community development block grant, a $100,000 dormitory authority grant, $250,000 DOT grant, and then the original grant was $480,000 transportation grant. So when the grant came due, we would apply for, the grant money and then apply it to our.
Sure. So this is set up for a full authorization for the full project costs. The intention is to, normally you borrow the money, pay for it, and then get reimbursed from the grants if you have to expend the money.
Right.
And then you can pay down the note before you issue an actual bond at whatever the amount that may be. So if you have that much in grant money and the project doesn't exceed this, you may very well end up with a bond for 5 years or less. But again, to keep all options open, I believe Bond Council has chosen to recommend proceeding this way.
Yes.
Okay?
So the first page where it says bond resolution at a regular meeting.
Right. So the clerk would fill out, the call to order, who's present, who's not the present. You've already called the meeting to order. So we'll just proceed with, we have a resolution number. We're up to
43.
43, and then we'll need a motion in a second. And I will tell you that you need 2/3 of the voting strength of the board, so you need all 4 members here tonight to adopt this. Last week, all 5 of you voted for it, so I don't expect there to be an issue with that, but you do need 4 votes in order for this to pass.
Need a motion in a second.
Make a motion that we adopt this resolution to issue $1 million of serial bonds to pay for the cost of the rail trail project.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Good. All right.
And
Very
then,
good. Thank you.
and then you'll do the certification,
Yeah.
work with Scott,
We
and
will
get the rest of it
talk
done?
tomorrow.
Okay. Public comment? Town board comments?
No, I just want to encourage everybody to come out to the picnic, and volunteers are always welcome. Even if you're not a senior and you'd like to volunteer to come down and help serve the food and do things like that, we'll give you a spoon, don't worry. And it'll be a great time. Thank you.
Okay, make a motion to go into executive session for acquisition, lease, or sale of real property or securities when publicity would substantially affect the value.
And that's pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105(1)H, for the record. You need a second for your vote. Okay.
They were going to hold her. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's at 33.